And joining us now from Washington is former U.S. Deputy Assistant Attorney General and former General Counsel for the U.S. Director of National Intelligence, Bob Litt. Welcome, Bob. Really great to have you with us.
Thanks.
What stands out to you the most about Roger Stone's indictment?
Well, I think there are two things that really struck me. The first is, like most of the special counsel's indictments, there is a wealth of evidence set forth in the indictment, which isn't typical for indictments. But there's a very strong case set out there with quotes from emails and text messages that I think is meant to send a message both to Roger Stone and to the public at large. The other thing that I thought was significant was the inclusion of the witness tampering count, which is a far more serious charge than false statement, both in terms of the potential maximum sentence, which is 20 years as opposed to 5 years for the false statements, but also because courts tend to take very seriously this sort of effort to intimidate a witness and prevent a witness from testifying. And I think there's a very strong case set out of the witness tampering in the emails and text messages that are quoted in the indictment.
Okay, so he was charged on 7 counts, including making false statements and, as you just mentioned, witness tampering. So is that the most severe of the 7 counts?
Yes, that is the false statement counts and the obstruction of justice counts. Each of them carries a potential 5-year sentence. The witness tampering carries a potential 20-year sentence.
Right. Okay. So how can we expect Special Counsel Robert Mueller to proceed with this case against Mr. Stone?
Well, at this point, I think it's going to be carried out the way any criminal case would be. Roger Stone has to appear in court in Washington on Tuesday to be arraigned, at which time he'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. Over the next few weeks, the government will provide what they call discovery to Mr. Stone's counsel, which is the evidence in the case and information that they're required by law to turn over. And then there will be a trial at some point, probably several months out. I would expect that Stone would make a lot of motions alleging prosecutorial misconduct and political vindictiveness, and those would all have to be resolved before the trial.
I'm wondering what his indictment indicates to you about the entire investigation, because it alleges that Stone was in regular contact with an unnamed organization, of course believed to be WikiLeaks, and the Trump campaign during the 2016 election. What is the significance of that to you?
Well, it's another step in the direction of finding out what exactly the relationship between the Trump campaign, WikiLeaks, and Russia was during the course of the election. The president's supporters today emphasized the fact that Stone was not charged in this indictment with conspiring with Russia or with campaign violations, as in fact, nobody has been charged with conspiring with Russia yet. But that may simply reflect that Mueller is building a larger case that he wants to bring all at one time, and we simply won't know about that until we see whether it happens.
And in your opinion, as a legal expert, how significant is it that neither this indictment nor any of the other charges indicate collusion between the campaign and the Russians?
Well, as I said, it could indicate, as the president's supporters say, that there's no evidence of collusion. Or it simply could be tactical on Mueller's part, that he wants to wait until he has put together his entire case on collusion and then charge everybody he's going to charge together in one case. After all, if he had charged Roger Stone with collusion in this case, then he would have had to turn over all of the evidence he has about collusion at this time,
so you're saying,
rather than wait for the big charge.
So, Bob, you're saying it's possible that there were additional counts he could have charged Stone with that he may be holding back on for the sake of the larger investigation?
Absolutely correct. We don't know that. There may not be, but it's entirely possible.
There could be. All right. Bob Litt, thank you so much for your insight.
Thanks for having me, Tanya.